Yeah, what are your like basic opinions on like the Trump trials in general?
Farcical, banana republic, completely contrived. These are things that come to mind when I think about the Trump indictments.
Um, I there's a big perception of that. I think that this is what I'll say. When it comes to some of those cases are really, really strong. Just like from a legal aspect.
Such as
The Florida case is unbelievably strong. But that's
so
not going to
strong that it's been dropped indefinitely.
well, we can get into that too. But the legal basis for that is pretty strong. The January 6th from the federal one is really interesting. I don't know how strong it is, like based off of the indictment.
About as strong as a wet paper bag.
Oh, we don't know because we haven't seen any of the like evidence that they lay out yet, right? But like we got to see like in real time like what happened with the Florida case, which is why I say that one's like pretty strong. But when it comes to like the January 6th case, that one feels like it's a pretty it's interesting, and I would say that like I want to see it go to trial just to see like what the outcome of that is. Same with the Georgia case. Both of those are stronger, and I would say that the New York cases are and maybe this is me watching too much opposition opinion, but those, while they have legal basis, they're much more obviously spike driven. So I feel a little bit weirder about those. I care less about those. Like the reason that those got so crazy and so much in the news, that's mostly on Trump. I think that he has the current tactic of like, well, if I'm going to be tied up in court and I can't go on the campaign trail, I'll make this my campaign trail, and we're going to do some wacky shenanigans in court, both on purpose and some on accident, and just roll with it. Like I still cannot for the life of me believe that his legal counsel in the real estate case up so bad so often. Like the only reason that he got so on that case is because of the legal counsel that he chose. You know, that one was on him. The current one with the Stormy Daniels, I kind of go back and forth on the legal basis of it. So I guess we'll have to see how the jury rules on that. But I mean, I'll take whatever the jury says. If it says yes, if it says no, there's at least one, based off of, and this is speculation, but like based off of things that we do know about the jury, there's at least one person on the actual jury, not an alternate, that is probably more aligned with Trump than with Biden, based off of the news sources that they consume. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. Have not been following the case at a what I'll call a wonkish level.
Yeah, I did for like the first couple of weeks, and now I'm like, okay, let's just come on, give us a jury verdict already, dude, because I don't want to see 5 million news articles in my feed every single day saying the same thing, right? But
right. Takeaways from day 562 of the Trump trial. Yeah.
But the at the beginning of the trial, right after the jury was selected, they released this thing that showed like where all the different 12 jurors got their news from. And, you know, there was like a nice spattering around where like some people watched like only MSNBC, you know, some people watched like a bunch of different things. There was one dude that was like, he got his news from Twitter, he got his news from Truth Social, and he got his news from Telegram. Those are the three places, right? So, I mean, if you're getting your news from Truth Social, then you're probably more aligned with Trump. So we'll just have to see how the case goes. But yeah, why do you think that the Florida case isn't strong? Like we saw that one play out in real time.
Why do I think that the Florida case isn't strong? Because there's a bunch of things. First of all, if it's so strong and it's such a slam dunk, why isn't Obama being indicted? Why isn't Biden being indicted? Why aren't like literally the overwhelming majority of swamp creatures being indicted? I would bet my life that 80% of DC politicians have classified documents in their personal offices or homes. I would literally bet my life. And
that I think that the number's too big on that one. I would agree if you said like 5 to 10% maybe, but like the risk versus the reward of that is super. Now, if you said presidents 80%, maybe. But here's like the difference that I would point out.
Hey, let me finish answering.
Sure.
Then, so that's the selective application and use of the law. Okay, that's reason one why the whole case is bullshit. Either the law applies to people or it doesn't. Then we have the fact that the documents have presidential immunity coverage. If the president says, I declassified these, he declassified them. That's been good enough for every president before him. Why isn't it good enough for him? Oh, that's right, because they're selectively prosecuting. That's right. Then we have to accept the fact that I think that's not the right word to use there because I'm talking to someone who fundamentally disagrees with me. So let me correct myself.
You can say anything.
I can't say anything.
We live in America, baby.
Snatch. It's in my opinion, it is the case that the FBI is completely untrustworthy. They have demonstrated themselves as being a partisan organization that is pushing one side of the political aisle. They persecute on political grounds. They spend resources going after Christians, anti-lockdown protesters, people protesting outside of a Planned Parenthood. They do raids on people selling raw milk. Meanwhile, the human trafficking situation in the country is getting worse and worse. So I have literally zero faith in the FBI. And that's the main reason why I feel the indictment is bullshit, because the people spearheading the investigation are completely untrustworthy.
All right, gotcha. So there are three things I picked out of that I would disagree with super strongly with. In regards to, you said, most politicians probably have classified documents at their house. Why isn't Obama? Why isn't Biden? Why aren't all these other presidents getting indicted? I would agree if they did what Trump did, but the difference between what happened with like Biden's documents that were, under his Mustang or whatever the fuck in his garage, right? And what Trump did, or Obama also had the Presidential Records Association or whatever contact him and ask him for documents. So did Bill Clinton. Bush too probably did too. The difference between what happened with Trump and what happened with all these other presidents, though, with the exception of Clinton, and we can get into that if you want to, is they were like, oh, okay. They handed it over. There was no back and forth about whether there were documents, whether the documents were, his. There was no, year-long, like, hey, no, this is actually ours, and like these were classified documents, right? That back and forth for a year, I think, shows that they didn't want to do anything like indict a former president, right? They were.
Are you unaware of the part of that back and forth where Trump said, if you want them, come grab them? And they said, oh, no, you're good for now. Are you unaware of that part of the conversation?
Yeah, because they didn't want to they didn't want to have an FBI raid on a former president's house. I mean, we have, of course, I think that
it's not an FBI raid to say, hey, come with a truck and grab them. That's not a raid. That's a planned pickup.
maybe I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. Then, if you link me something, maybe we can go over that. But the idea
I
that
might be able to find it, but yeah, there was a part of the back and forth in the whole case where the Trump team invited the FBI to come get the documents. How would I search for this?
I'll also try some search terms. Man, all of these are like way too recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if anyone in my chat wants to help us find something that goes along with that, I've literally never heard like Trump say like, okay, well, if you want them, come get them. In regards to like the back and forth, I know that like throughout the entire process, he was like, I mean, like we have literal audio recordings of him saying like, admitting that he's doing something illegal. We have documentation of him saying things like, well, wouldn't it be better for us to just tell them that there are no documents at the estate, stuff like that, which would be evidence of a crime. Like when he's talking to his lawyers and stuff.
I have an idea. Let's see if that tangential question. You mess around with AI much?
Me personally, no. I know some people that do. My editor's super big into AI, but for me, I'm not someone that has ever really messed around with it.
Yeah, I can't remember where I heard that, and it's possible I'm misremembering what was said. Yeah, I would have to go on a deep dive on that one and go back and rewatch a bunch of podcasts that were talking about it a year ago.
It might be like there was at one point Trump gave back some of the documents and said that was all of them.
It might be, that might be what.
But like
that's what I'm remembering.
Yeah, but like the fact that he gave them some and then said like, okay, that's all of them. And then when they like went through and accounted for all the documents that were in those boxes, they were like, wait, hold on. No, this is like not even a quarter of what we wanted. Like this isn't all the documents that we know that you have. And at that point was when Trump was like talking to his lawyer and saying like, hey, wouldn't it be better for us to just tell them that there are no more documents here? Should we can't we just like tell them, we don't have anything like that left. We gave it all to them, like trying to ask the, not judges, the lawyers to lie to the FBI for him. Like that in and of itself is indicative of the crime.
I would certainly agree that does not look good. I'd concede that.
Yeah, I mean, like
proof of a crime, no.
Well, I mean, like of the crimes alleged, yeah, it would be evidence of that. But like, you also the second thing that I wrote down here, the presidential immunity, that is not been upheld by any court so far. And I mean, I would put significant amount of money down to say that the presidential immunity claim that Trump is putting forward is absolutely not going to be accepted by the Supreme Court or by any lower court.
Yeah, and I'd probably agree with you on that. Whether or not those courts are are right is another discussion.
Well, I mean, like, just look at the arguments that the Trump legal team was making in court, right? Like, they asked him twice, once at the lower court and then once at the Supreme Court level, about, like, you know, the SEAL Team 6 assassinate your political rival thing, right?
No, what's this?
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, we can find this video right now if you don't believe me, but like at the lower court, one of the judges on the panel was like, okay, you're saying that anything that the president does at while in the presidency is immune to any kind of criminal prosecution unless they are impeached and then convicted in the Senate. All right, now let's say that it's an election year and the president in power has both houses of Congress, right? And he orders SEAL Team 6 to go and assassinate his political rival. And because he has both houses of Congress, he's not impeached and he's not convicted in the Senate. Is there any way to hold that president accountable for ordering SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his political rival? And Trump's lawyer says, well, he would have to be convicted in the Senate for him to be, prosecuted criminally. But if he already has, if he has his party in power and they're loyal enough to him and they don't want to go through with an impeachment hearing, then at that point, he literally is immune from even, and this is the argument. And he said yes to this, that unless, he's impeached and convicted in the Senate, then he can literally order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his political rivals. And they doubled down on that at the Supreme Court. I think it was the most recent Supreme Court justice that got Keegan. I don't remember her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take you at your word and assume you're representing the argument in good faith.
I mean, I said it like almost word for word, and you can double check me, and anyone in chat can double check me.
Like I said, I'm taking you at your word. I disagree with that. Even if that is the way the law is written and they are right from a legalistic standpoint, obviously I have extreme moral and ethical disagreement with that.
Yeah, of course. Like, because it's insane, right? Like, I think that the idea that presidents should have some immunity from criminal prosecution, like at the baseline argument that they're making, I don't think anyone disagrees with that, right? That, sometimes the president has to be decisive and not worry that they're going to get criminally prosecuted if they make a mistake, shit like that. Absolutely. You're in the, most powerful seat possibly in the entire world, or arguably in the entire world, in the entire course of human history, right? You're the most powerful human being at this current point of time. And if you have to make a decision and that decision either ends up being the wrong decision, or if something messes up in the course of that decision being taken through to fruition, obviously, that's a mistake and not criminal liability. But if you're going to, the argument that he's making here is also applied to the three big cases that I talked about: the Florida case, the Georgia case, and the federal case. The idea that a president could, let's just say assuming what the indictment says is true, right? That he would be immune from all of these criminal indictments simply because he was president at the time is kind of insane to me. And it would be insane to any reasonable person listening to it, because the implications of what a president could do with that power is literally unlimited. So, I don't think that the presidential immunity, especially as the Trump legal team is bringing it up, has any legal teeth whatsoever. Hope to see you again. Please subscribe if you haven't. I usually stream a whole bunch, or I say a whole bunch, 2-3 times a week. I'm going to be gone all next week because I'm going to be out of state. But after that, we're going to hit the ground running because I'm going to be unemployed and ready to move. And then I'm going to be unemployed in DC and streaming a bunch. All right. So subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you later.